Welcome everyone, I'm Roman Kubiak. I'm a partner and head of the Contested Wills Trust and Estates team at Hugh James. So, hope this webinar finds everyone well and having adjusted to lockdown life. Today I'm going to be discussing the law on lost wills, what to do if you're faced with a case involving a lost or copy will, how you can determine whether or not any such lost will may nonetheless be valid, some real life case examples, what to do in practice if you want to admit a lost will to probate, and potential pitfalls to look out for. So, essentially, the key points I'm going to be looking at today are as follows. Firstly, I'm going to look at the legal position, presumptions, and burden of proof, including key cases, how the presumptions shift depending on the last known location of the will, and the evidential threshold which might apply. I'll then move on to discussing revocation and intention. So, essentially, what constitutes a valid revocation of a will, and what acts are presumed to revoke wills. That will lead very nicely on to looking at codicils and revival of lost wills. So the extent to which lost wills can be revived, whether by codicil or otherwise. I'll then move on to discussing some of the pitfalls associated with lost wills and the associated litigation, and practical steps you can take, including how to get evidence of a lost will and the procedure for seeking to prove a lost will, both in the probate registry and the High Court. And finally, I'll look at lost wills in terms of the future, and we'll be looking at the recent Law Commission consultation on wills generally, and I'll leave you then with some takeaway points. So this is an area I'm increasingly finding myself advising clients and practitioners. That I suspect is probably in part to do with a combination of factors, including individuals preferring to keep their wills themselves rather than to keep them in a firm strong room, increasing use of digital media, which of course doesn't yet include will making, an aging population, and in turn a larger proportion of society moving into care and leaving their homes, as well as an increased propensity for fraud. The current situation with half the world's population in some form of lockdown, I foresee this being an increasingly big problem as people, whether in a state of panic, deliberately or accidentally, and we'll look at some case examples of how that's happened in the past, whether intentionally or otherwise, review their current wills and try to amend or revoke them. Of course, many of us are unable to leave our homes except for essential travel at the moment, and I'm sure that will change very soon, but there's also the problem of being able to revoke a will if it's stored elsewhere other than in the home. That's bound to cause issues down the line. Personally, I think it's a really interesting area of law, so hopefully by the end of this talk, you won't all have lost the will to live.